All right, let's dive into project integration management. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sounds a bit dry, right? But forget the dusty textbooks for a minute. We're going to look at this through a different lens, the lens of a conductor leading an orchestra, the one person who can turn total chaos into a symphony of success. You've been there, right? We all have. You've got teams working in their own little worlds, completely out of sync. The deadlines are slipping, the budget is a mess, it's just noise. It's a total cacophony. Well, that is the sound of a project without a conductor, a project that's missing effective integration management. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to follow the arc of a real performance. We'll start with our conductor, the project manager. Then we'll walk through setting the stage, actually performing the symphony, listening and adjusting on the fly, and of course, taking that final bow. So, how do we fix all that chaos? Well, the solution really starts when we stop thinking about the project manager as just a taskmaster and start seeing them as the conductor. Their number one job? Integration. They are the single point of accountability, the one person holding the entire performance together. So, what exactly is project integration management? The official definition from the PMBOK guide talks about identifying, defining, and unifying all the different processes. But let's break that down. It's really about weaving all the separate parts of a project, the scope, the schedule, the cost, the risks, into one cohesive whole. It's making sure every single instrument is playing from the same sheet music in the same key. And this is absolutely crucial. A project manager might delegate tasks, right? They might have someone who specializes in cost or scheduling, but they cannot, I repeat, cannot delegate integration. This quote says it all. The conductor is the one person responsible for how the entire symphony sounds. That accountability sits squarely on the PM's shoulders. No passing the buck. Okay, part one, setting the stage. In the world of project management, this is our initiating and planning phase. This is where we lay all the groundwork. We have to make sure the entire project is built on a rock-solid foundation before a single note is ever played. This isn't just about paperwork. This is all about strategic alignment. Our very first step in setting the stage is developing the project charter. You can think of this as the moment the concert is officially announced and funded. It's the formal authorization that brings the project to life and gives our conductor, the PM, the mandate to actually lead. So how does this work? Well, we take a key input, like the business case that says, hey, we should have this concert, and we apply a critical tool, expert judgment. And let's be clear, this isn't just a casual opinion. This means bringing in people with deep knowledge to make sure the project is feasible and actually aligned with where the business is trying to go. The result of that is our output, the project charter. So what does this charter really do? Well, first, it makes the project official. Second, it gives the PM the authority they need to start pulling the team together and spending money. And maybe most importantly, it creates a direct link between this project and the company's bigger strategic goals. It's the official green light. Without it, a PM has no real power. Okay, the project is officially a go. What's next? Now we move to developing the project management plan. If that charter was the green light, this is where we actually sit down with the key players and write the sheet music for the entire orchestra. And look at this. You can already see the integration in action. The main input for this process is the output from the last one, the project charter. Now, the real value here isn't just the final document. It's the act of planning itself. Those meetings and discussions force the tough conversations early on, which builds a shared understanding of how we're going to get this done. The project management plan becomes your single source of truth. It pulls together all those other plans for scope, for schedule, for cost, for quality, you name it, into one integrated master document. It's the master sheet music for the whole orchestra, spelling out who does what, when, and how. So let's just quickly recap that flow. It all starts with a business need. That leads to the project charter, which gives us the authority to act. And that charter flows right into creating the project management plan, our master score. See that logical progression? That's integration right at the start. Part 2, performing the symphony. Okay, the stage is set, the music is on the stands, and it's time to actually play. We are now in the executing processes. This is where the plans get turned into action, where the real work happens, and where a PM's leadership is truly put to the test. This one is the heart of execution. It's exactly what it sounds like, leading the team to do the work we defined in the plan. The conductor lifts the baton, the orchestra starts to play, and we begin creating the actual deliverables. This is all about enabling your team, clearing roadblocks, not micromanaging every single note. To do this, we obviously take our project management plan as the guide. We use tools like a PMIS, think Jira or Asana, to coordinate everything. And what comes out the other end? Two key things: the actual deliverables the project was set up to create, and raw work performance data. That's just the facts. Hours spent, tasks done, pure and simple. But, execution is more than just churning out work. It's also about learning as we go. And that brings us to a super important and often forgotten integration process: managing project knowledge. Honestly, this is what separates the good teams from the truly great ones. This whole process is about making sure we're getting smarter, not just busier. We need to manage both explicit knowledge, the stuff that's written down, and the much more valuable tacit knowledge, which is the know-how inside people's heads. The conductor's job is to create a space where people feel safe to share that knowledge, so the orchestra learns from every single rehearsal and every performance. Okay, part 3, listening and adjusting. Look, no performance ever goes exactly as planned. A great conductor is always listening, always making tiny adjustments. This is the monitoring and controlling phase, and it runs side by side with execution to keep the whole project on track. So the first part of adjusting is, of course, listening. This process is all about tracking our progress, checking how we're doing against the plan, and reporting on what we find. It's the conductor's ear, constantly tuned in for any instrument that's a little bit off-key or out of time. Now, here's where a critical transformation happens. We take that raw data from the last step, and through analysis, we turn it into meaningful information. We look at variance, we look at trends, and we compare where we are to where we're supposed to be. The outputs are performance reports for our stakeholders and, you guessed it, formal change requests if we need to adjust course. And those change requests lead us directly here. This might be the most critical integration process of them all. This is where we look at every single change request from a holistic, big picture perspective. We have to make sure that a small, seemingly simple change in one area doesn't cause total chaos somewhere else. And the difference is just night and day. On the left, you've got the disaster of scope creep, random, ad hoc changes that sink projects. On the right, you have the order of integrated change control. Usually, there's a change control board that looks at every request and asks, how does this affect not just the schedule and budget, but the overall business value? A great PM knows this isn't about saying no to all changes, it's about controlling change to protect the project's goals. And that brings us to our final act, part 4, taking the final bow. The last note has been played, the audience is applauding, but the conductor's job isn't quite over yet. Just like a concert, every project needs a clean, orderly conclusion. So our final integration process, closing the project or phase, is about way more than just stopping the work. It's about formally wrapping up every single activity and making sure the value we created is successfully handed off. Closing means getting formal sign-off on the final product, closing out all the contracts, and archiving what we've learned. That last piece is so important. We take our final bow, but we also save the annotated sheet music so the next orchestra can learn from our experience. It makes the entire organization smarter and gives the team a sense of closure. When you step back and look at all these processes together, a really clear picture starts to form. Just managing individual tasks, that's one thing. But skillfully weaving them all together, anticipating how they interact, and guiding the whole thing towards one unified goal, that's not just management, that's leadership. So I'll leave you with one final thought to reflect on. Take a look at your own projects. Are you just checking boxes and managing a list of disconnected tasks? Or are you truly stepping up to the podium, taking full responsibility for the entire performance and conducting the symphony?